All right, good afternoon. My name is Shane Powell. I'm going to be completing my speech for my Intro to Communications class. My topic today is going to be information security and how it currently is affecting us. So, to begin, are you aware or how there have been over 9,000 public breaches since 2005, equaling to over 10 billion records? It's crazy. Those numbers associated with information security because it's embedded so itself so well into our normal culture for everybody. I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone that doesn't have more than one or two social media platforms or multiple Alexas and cell phones and smart this, smart that in their house or things that they may use day to day. It's starting to become very normal in a very normal part of our life as we know it. Technology has successfully infiltrated our lives and for the most part made it better. There are a lot of conveniences that come with it, but I think a lot of people don't take that thought pattern a little bit farther. They don't think, well, if I'm going to use this security or if I'm going to use these tools or social media platforms, I should probably protect myself as well because there are going to be negatives that can happen with it. So to begin, during this presentation, I'm going to be going and discussing how companies aren't as secure with our data as they probably should be, social media hacks that have happened and that probably will continue to happen. And then I'm also going to be finally discussing how I think certain companies aren't hit hard enough when breaches do happen. So to begin, companies storing our data, they're not as secure as we thought. There's been a multitude of hacks. I could talk to you all day about ones that have happened in the past, but almost all the big sites or big convenience resources you've used, maybe even like TurboTax, stuff like that. There have been hacks involved with your information, and people are getting really smart these days. So I don't know if you're familiar with not only Facebook, but some things people will do is they'll post a picture and have a question like, "What was your first car? What was your middle school name? Your favorite teacher?" Those questions can be pieced together with other information on your Facebook, like your name, your birthday, whatever information you may put. That can get pieced together to get access to your account without you knowing. So I see it all the time. I'll see older family members and friends who they don't really understand that. They think they're just interacting with a good old innocent Facebook post, and unbeknownst to the user, you're giving away valuable information that a hacker can piece together. Like I said, just with technology evolving, things becoming smaller, faster, more convenient, hackers are also doing the same. And with that, many aren't aware it even happens. Some hackers will get into your account, stay there, relax, see what they can get, and some will take what they want and just go. Actually, by Fung in 2018, over 145 million social security numbers, 99 million addresses, 12,000 taxpayer IDs, and more than 3,000 passports were being hacked, affected over 147 million individuals. Those numbers are big, those numbers are scary, and especially nowadays, it is not far off that something like that can happen to you. That's not far off at all. It seems like more than ever, you hear about this new site or this new platform getting hacked. Secondly, social media and its importance. Like I said, I'm sure you may have multiple platforms for your social medias. That has single-handedly embedded itself into our daily life. I'm sure when you're out walking, you'll see multiple people on their phone looking at different social medias and checking and things like that. Actually, start to solve Tony Rahm and Elizabeth Dwoskin in 2019 wrote about the Facebook hack that left over 540 million records exposed. It's the largest social media platform Facebook is with 1.69 billion users, and that's growing daily. It still is, by the numbers, the most popular social media platform, and numbers like that just aren't something you should be messing around with. A lot of my family members, from almost seems like 10, 11, 12 up to, some of my aunts, and I'm sure if my grandparents were here, they have a Facebook page too, just to stay in touch with everybody. They're very important. They've embedded themselves. It's a way of communicating. It's a way of staying in touch. It is I'm not going to say very important, but even I use it for those reasons. So to say, let's just get rid of social media is too far. I think it's an extreme. But I think what people need to start doing is taking their passwords and the information they put out onto the internet a little bit more seriously and be more cautious. Because, like I said, it's getting even easier to get that information to piece together and leads to even more pertinent information. And third, I think punishment for the companies that do get affected by these hacks, they're not harsh enough. I believe that the government should be stepping in for a lot of these hacks, especially when you're reaching in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of accounts being affected. I think harsher penalties and better protection need to be in place. If you're going to offer a service and say you're going to, keep my information secure, I should be able to trust you and do that. You have those contracts where you hit I agree for the most part whenever you create an account or something. And honestly, nobody reads those. I don't think I've ever read one, like hundreds of pages. But if you're going to take my information, it should be secure. And if it does get hacked, any repercussions come from that, you should be reversing those, or there should be some sort of equivalent to make that negative turn into a not so negative. Actually back in from Swindho, he wrote in 2020, in July 2019, the credit agency agreed to pay $575 million, potentially rising up to $700 million in a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in all 50 U.S. states and territories over the company's failure to take reasonable steps to secure its networks. So things like that are good. It's, I think, a positive that these companies are being held to a standard. Because even what's been a big business for like Facebook, for example, they'll take information that you look at. So apps you use, websites you go to, who you interact with, what you click on, what you like, what you comment, that's all data. And they will sell that to other third parties so that they can push to you specified, products, things happening in your area, whole nine. That's why whenever you're around certain things or say certain things around your phone, certain things will pop up. And that's kind of our social media. You can almost gauge how a person is without even meeting them. It's really crazy. And actually it wanted me to go into my prop, which is my cell phone. With this, something that people need to take into more consideration is just even something simple like the passcode you're using. So for me, if I were to lose this phone and I set my password to 4 zeros, not hard. Someone might see a passcode and get discouraged. That's something that if someone were to plug this in and have certain tools to hack into this, they'd have access to a plethora of banking apps. I have important information in notes. I have pictures of stuff, screenshots, whole nine. Like they'd have whole unfettered access to a lot of things that involve me, and that would be a terrible nightmare come true if that ever were to happen. So in closing, anyone using technology should be more cognizant of what they're using, the platforms they're using, and the protections that they can at least put in themselves. I understand that companies should be held to a standard as well, but individuals should be well versed and knowledgeable on the platforms they're about to use and be smart with the passwords and such that they pick. So not writing a password and leaving it under your keyboard or using password as a password. I know a lot of people that do that. Unfortunately, many companies, like I said, are still using and selling information now, but you just need to be very careful with what you're putting on the web. The benefit of using technology and social media definitely does not outweigh the risk if things do go south for you. And if they do go south, they go south very quickly and very badly. So finally, individuals using social media risk losing identity, their lives, and future opportunities, all because of their information being leaked. Technology has allowed us to connect with people more than ever before. So many positives can come from the uses and application, but companies and end users need to keep an eye out for their own personal information. So understanding the different technologies and what is available is something people need to take into consideration. How the companies are storing our information is also very important. You need to make sure your information is secure and that you're not using any sketchy sites or using bad information for any of your passwords or stuff like that. I also think punishment for companies needs to be a little bit harsher in terms of data breaches and anything like that. So thank you so much for listening. My name was Shane Powell. Hope you have a great rest of your day.